Really good one. And then that's the end of side one. And then, and back in those days, you didn't have CDs or it wasn't digital. It just didn't keep playing. If you had a cassette or an album, you had to turn it over.
Flip it.
And the first thing you hear now is Jungle Sounds. And we're going to go into the title track, which is Pleasures of the Flesh. And this was a song which was like another one that was on that demo that I did not write, that Paul wrote along with them, with the band. And this one also has an intro of like, you can hear Rick and us. We're in there going, doing that. And then
and the birds.
And the birds in the back. And we actually had Tom's roommate, Ian, had this dog named Tara. And he was a Rottweiler. And we brought her in and we lowered down the mic, so if when you hear it, you'll hear we just grab her jowls and she would tear that up. And then there's obviously the song kicks in. One of my favorites to play. It seems like all of the ones that I didn't write are my favorites to play.
And generally the second side of an Exodus album has that real epic long song than you're known for a lot, right?
And this one was no different on that. Again, one of my favorites to play. Most people think that Pleasures of the Flesh, it's all about, like some chicks or something, but in Exodus fashion,
I think it's both.
It's about cannibalism. Not coming from us, though. This song was completely about cannibalism and eating human flesh alive.
And here's the band cover that we got showing right here.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was the band cover. We'll get to that when we get done, because we're going to talk about the cover after we get done with this. The next song was something that Gary and Rick had cooked up. It's this little musical guitar kind of thing. They called it Ragacle at first because it was this ragtime classical thing they did on the guitar. But when the record came out, they changed it to 30 seconds. And I guess because it's only 30 seconds long, but just kind of like I guess showing them the musical talent of both of those guys, showing the guitar work that they can do. They wanted to do something like that. The album prior to that, No Love, had such a great acoustical intro to it. I think there was something like that. And then the next record the next song that came after that was Seeds of Hate. And Seeds of Hate was another one, was the last one of the 3 songs that Paul had demoed with the band prior to this. And
it has an intro to it too, doesn't it?
No, just has Tom coming in. Right, it ends right after the intro. I think you're thinking of is the 30 seconds.
Oh, okay,
that's what you're thinking. And then the drums come in. I did write a piece to this song. I felt at the end of the song, when the part kicks in, innocent victims cry out in pain. I wrote that whole part. I felt it was empty there, and they were like, "Yeah, if you can come up with something, go ahead and write something there." And so I did. And again, another fun one to play. And then we saw on the next Metallica record, in the song Harvester of Sorrow, James says one line, "Planting the seeds of hate." And then I was like, somebody's listening to somebody else's records. I see. Well, kind of took that as a compliment. And then this next song was another one that I wrote, had to do with environmentalists and politicians that take kickbacks for the dumping of toxic waste. It was a big deal in the 80s, and
still is.
I think it still is, but it was more so because people really didn't have an idea of what environmental, and they didn't give a shit at that point in time.
All over the world.
Very moody song, not your typical 100 miles an hour in your face Exodus, but great guitar work on it.
It has
one of my favorites.
Yeah, both going back and forth from Gary to Rick. Yeah. And I've talked to Rick recently, and I said, "Hey, man, wouldn't it be great to play this song again?" And he said it's one of his favorite songs to play. It
is, and I love to play Chemical. We haven't had it in the set in the last few years, but we'd love to bring it back. One of my favorites, always has been. It just had a really moody kind of singing to it and kind of a really good story about it. So
it's not like super fast. It's like you said, it moves you.
Yeah. No, it has a good
groove.
Good
groove. You're
right.
And then it gets heavy.
And then it gets all of Exodus gets heavy. And then the album closes out with a song that we actually wrote in the studio called "Choose Your Weapon." Actually, I didn't write any of it. Gary wrote the song and wrote the lyrics. I just had to learn it. But perfect way to end
Yeah, that's a
Pleasures
very
of Flesh.
obscure track. Did you ever play that song live?
We did back in the day,
Yeah.
and that first, but I haven't played that in a lot. I'd love to do a whole B-side
And how many
thing
years
and
have been?
play-
Like 30 something.
Well, what we're 32 at least for this album. Anyway, 32. So, and then we knew that the record was done, and we sent it to L.A. and had Bernie Grunman. He was the mastered it, and then we were all talking about, and we had the album cover, and like Walt was talking about, this is the band album cover.
Cannibalism themed
Album cover, and they told us that retail stores will not pick up this album because this cartoon fucking album cover is way too graphic. And we were like, okay, well, we got a fucking record in the can. What do we do? So they came up with the idea of it's called the album's called Pleasures of the Flesh, and we'll be all owners of the Cannibal Bar and Grill, and that's what you see there. So when you turn the album on the other side, Walt's good buddy, Mr. Mike Kanzler, and our old stage manager.
I grew up with Mike, from
and
high school.
He was the guy that you see on the back. Some people said, "Is that you, Zetro?" It wasn't me, even though my hair was.
He looks
poofy.
like a cannibal.
My hair was. He did look like a cannibal at that time. So what we did is back in those days, it was against the law. It was a felony to actually own human bones. You had to have a license to do it. So we hired a guy out of San Francisco called Sticks and Stones, Skin and Bones.
You guys love spending money back then.
We love spending money. I love spending money now. Anyway, we had this guy come in and bring actual. So those heads that you see in front of us are actual human skulls. Yeah, and we had names for them. I can't even remember. Look on the album. We made names for every one of them, and that was like, I think it was like Uncle Kajui and Uncle Kretchy, and like they were all in front of us. But that's what we had to do on a whim because nobody would. They said, oh well, Target won't take this and all the and
so
whatever.
You had to shoot that album.
So we shot it, and we did it at the Punchline in San Francisco, which is a comedy club. And because we were managed by Bill Graham at the time, we could get away with doing, shit like that. He'd like when we did the Toxic Waltz video, we did it at the Fillmore. Why? Because Bill ran the Fillmore and said it was okay for us to do. So we got kind of a lot of privileges from that.
And who shot the photo for that?
Yoni Mayeri. Her husband was David Mayeri, who ran the Warfield at that time, another Bill Graham. She was a great photographer. I don't know what other stuff she did, but she shot that and shot Kanzler. We did it in a day. We went out there like at 1 o'clock. By 4 o'clock, the shoot was done real quick. But we knew that this would be a collector's piece because we would never get rid of. The only part I don't like is my fucking nose is hella fat in this one. I don't have a fat nose, and I just didn't think that. Kent Matthew, who did this photo, and he did the 2 Forbidden album covers as well, was an artist in Berkeley. And
that would be a good poster nowadays.
And then so we sat on it for a while, and then it came out in September of '87, and you were on that. Boy, were you on that tour, weren't you?
Destroy.
Boy, Destroy tour. Yeah, Walter, I mean, did you just park the fucking budget car there and leave it there because you fucked that thing up so bad?
Yeah, I did, but the person that took over didn't know better.
Well, regardless of irregardless who took over, it was great. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I think we actually bought that truck on that tour because
all right, but also because of
guys,
what happened and me getting sent home from the other side, from the East Coast, you realized that, hey, the videos I was shooting are very good, and you called me from the road and said, hey, pack your bags, we're picking you back up because nobody can do videos like you.
So we have, and we'll talk about some of those videos. I know if you guys have watched on Exodus's YouTube channel, you see the Astoria video.
That just came out, right?
He shot that whole thing. Yeah, even the fuzzy part where he's walking through the fucking crowd and it's going, he can't make it out. It's Walter.
That's right. That's when it was very raw. That's the way you wanted it.
So, and we went out with Celtic Frost and Anthrax.
Right.
And it was mayhem from getting.
That was a great tour.
Yeah, because we were young and fucking.
And Anthrax
on fire.
had Among the Living Out. Right.
I don't remember what Celtic Frost was touring on. I don't think it was Into the Megatherion. I don't think it was that. I'm not quite sure. And then after that, we went home for Christmas, and we came back and went out and did the States and Canada with MOD.
Right.
which was another fun because Billy Milano was a
And
blast.
when was the European like
That was in April,
after?
June. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
in June.
Okay, so I went
that
on
year.
that
So
too.
and now we're in '88, and then in June we went to Europe for 8 or 9 shows, and that's the infamous Dynamo Festival and the infamous Birmingham
a lot
show.
of big shows there, you know.
Yeah, well, the
Astoria,
Birmingham
London,
show.
and
Well, the Birmingham show's the one that's the
right.
famous show that,
That
we've
we did
already
an
told that
episode on.
story.
Yeah.
Story on. So.
That was a very successful tour and album for you guys. So.
And so that kind of, as it wound up, we came back and then we went right back in the studio the summer of '88 to write write and record Fabulous Disaster. And then, because Fabulous came out in January of '89. So at that point, there had been 2.5 years since the last record. But here, there was only really about a year and 5 months between the 2 records
And
coming
we're gonna
out.
get the Fabulous Disaster.
We
story
will
too,
down the
right?
road, get down. So, any of you guys, leave me some comments and let me know if you saw us on tour. You know, obviously, subscribe to our channel. What do you got? You got nothing to say on that wall?
I'd like to
Anything,
hear
Adam?
the comments because I read them all. So
He
let
likes
me
to
know.
hear the comments, especially when he reads his own comments. That's what I love.
Sometimes
That's
I do
my
that.
favorite time when you read your own comments. But subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you guys next time in the vault.